hole after hole, representing loss after loss. Oh, my God. Did you see a picture of him after last weekend's loss? Oh, man. That sweatshirt's seen some things. Bill Belichick's seen some things. Not good. Patriots at Raiders. Under 42, guys. Under 42. The Patriots cannot do anything right. By the way, if you're interested in a play on the spread, Mac Jones in his last 12 starts as an underdog in the NFL, and they are a dog here, 0-12. 0-12. I am still on the under. New England benched Jones, has benched in the past couple weeks, Chelsa. That offense just cannot move the ball. And as we saw on Monday night, the Raiders can't move the ball either. They are playing on a short week. Jimmy G is turnover prone, leads the NFL in interceptions. Devontae Adams not 100%. This is going to be a rock fight. Under 42 out in Sin City.
Yeah, what are we doing with this total? This is the first impression, Rose, that I believe both of us gave at the start of the week. When you see a total over 40 between two of the worst offenses in the league, what do? You take the under. And it's nothing to do even with the matchup defensively speaking, because nobody's going to come on here and say, well, the Raiders are a really tough defensive matchup. We saw that game between the Packers and the Raiders where both teams had a very palatable defensive matchup, and we still saw a very low-scoring game. I think that's the case here. Josh McDaniels, I don't have any faith in him, especially on a short week. You think he's going to get it together with only a few days to prepare against his former coach, Bill Belichick? No. I don't believe in them, and I certainly don't believe in Mac Jones, who I think might be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So, of course, I'm going to be on the under as well. This is a squad play, and for good reason. I do think it's smart that maybe you bump it up here to under 42, but I think I would still take the number that is posted as well. I don't think this one's going to be too much of a sweat. Also think that the first half under would be a solid play as well. The Raiders offense has really struggled in the first halves as well as the full game. So any way you slice it, I don't think we're seeing a ton of points in this Pats and Raiders matchup that I, for one, do not want to watch.
I am not going to watch this. The whole Belichick thing is fascinating to me, Chelsa. It really is, just because I feel like he's going to step down after this season. We don't really know what's going to go on, but I can't imagine him continuing to be the head coach of the Patriots after this year. By the way, if you want to watch this game, 4:05 in Sin City on Sunday, but I don't know. I think this is one of the more fascinating storylines in the NFL, just because you're talking about a Hall of Fame head coach whose legacy I wouldn't say is being tarnished, but there's going to be that whole thing. He's not the same without Brady. He's not the same without Brady, which isn't necessarily fair, but it's out there.
Listen, the line on this is tight for good reason. Both of these teams have really solid quarterbacks and great offenses. You've got Oregon getting 3 points here. And we know that Washington has a great home field advantage behind Michael Penix Jr., Heisman Trophy candidate. But listen, we saw this game last year. It came down to the final seconds as a field goal decided this one. Washington won at 37-34. But if you think this game is a coin flip and you're giving me 3 points with a team that is a perfect 5-0 against the number this year, I will take the Oregon Ducks. I feel like this game could go either way. So in that case, I will take the underdog. Let's go, Bo, next. Let's hope to prove those Huskies wrong, and let's get a little revenge here. So I'm going to take Oregon +3. I also think the over is a solid play as well, but the numbers going the other direction feels like a red flag. So maybe I will not be playing that one. So if you want to watch that game, it is a battle for Pac-12 supremacy on Saturday in Seattle at 3:30 Eastern. Jenks, where does this fall on the hierarchy of games that you want to watch?
Oh, this is number one for me. This should be a blast. Whether the under hits, over hits, these are the two top scoring offenses in all of college football. And we could see maybe Bo Nix or maybe Michael Penix Jr. overtake Caleb Williams as the Heisman Trophy favorite. Michael Penix right now is the favorite in some spots. And if you're Caleb Williams, if he goes into South Bend and he struggles, but one of these guys, Nix or Penix, just shows out. Maybe they both will, but someone's going to have to lose. I think this is not just a battle for the top of the Pac-12. It is sort of a battle for who might take the lead in the Heisman Trophy race. So because of all those implications, because we should see a back-and-forth game, it's going to be high scoring. Like, total aside for a second, it's going to be a high-scoring game. So this is going to be a blast to watch.
I think so as well. And I think you kind of hinted at some pretty smart betting advice. I think this game will change the markets in multiple ways, whether it's the
Mm-hmm.
Heisman Trophy race or even the college football futures, because we have been saying this all season long. There are some teams out west that are not necessarily getting the credit in the market that I feel like they deserve. It feels like it's all been USC saying, like, oh, this is the team that's going to represent the Pac 12 in the college football playoff. As Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. I would not be shocked if it's one of these teams. So I think if
Mm-hmm.
you like either of these teams to advance to the college football playoff, maybe put a little sprinkle on them before this
Mm-hmm.
game. Maybe that's the way to play this one in the futures market as opposed to just a single game results. Do you think it's fair at all, the excuses that we are hearing from Braves fans, from the Braves players about why they lost in this series to the Phillies? Because I can't wrap my brain around it. It feels like a team that should just say, hey, we were not the better team here. Our bats didn't come to play. A long layoff? What are we talking about? You had 4 games to get your act together. Like, what are we talking about here? Do you think any of these excuses are valid?
Houston Astros, where are they? Houston Astros won the division. Where are they? They're in what's called the ALCS for a 7th consecutive year. Period. Now, we've talked about the playoff format, and the only significant change that I would look at on the short term is it's super small and it's more for the league and entertainment purposes. Is that last week we didn't have baseball on Friday. And so, in my mind, this is small, but if you're playing in the wild card rounds, you have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday if you get to game 3, which we had none of those, which sucked. And then in my mind, and this can create a little more of an edge for the team that are in the bye, they should be playing on Friday. We do this all the time in baseball, right? So, hey, you finished your game on Thursday, and then you fly to the next city and you play that night, right? So that's how I think they should set it up for Friday ball. And it's a very small change, but no, I mean, teams definitely said that. Like Ross Stripling, former Dodger, was doing a watch along with us during one of the games and said that when he saw some of the Dodgers teammate or his former teammates and friends towards the end of the season, they were like, I don't know what to do with my hands during the 4, 5, 6 day layoff, whatever. So they all did sim games, but I get it. It's not the same, but there's not really another solution here. And Eric Kratz has been great, who you both know well on our show. He asks many players that come on, okay, would you rather play in the wild card round? Do you want to play in the round, or do you want to get a bye and rest up, reset your pitching and everything else? And obviously no one's going to be like, yes, I'd like to play in a best of 3 against a random team instead of earning myself a bye. It's just there's not going to be a perfect solution here unless I guess we go back to the 1 game wild card and you only sit for like a day or two. Also, keep in mind, Chelsea, the Phillies sat for 2, 3 days. So it's like, oh, we sat an extra 2 days. Okay. I mean, again, the Houston Astros offense looked pretty good against the Twins team that has really good pitching. It's a pitching focused team. That's the flavor of the Twins this year. And Houston was okay. So I think it's just teams that didn't play well. And Philadelphia is really good. That was my World Series pick
Mm-hmm.
heading into the playoffs, not heading into the year, but heading into the playoffs just now. I said, I think Philadelphia is going to win the World Series. They are very well built to win a World Series. They got beat by a good team. The Phillies beat Atlanta, and Atlanta might be, maybe they're the second best team, but they're not the best team. And the main issue too is they didn't have the pitching to match Philadelphia. And yes, their bats didn't show up the same way either. But man, you look at the Philadelphia lineup, that is star studded. And it is, in my mind right now, because I've been there many times, not this year yet, but last year, by far the best home field advantage I've seen in my time working in the game. I can't speak for the past, but for the last, almost 15 years now working in baseball, I've never seen a home field advantage like Philadelphia. I usually don't even believe in it. Some teams I don't think care about it. Like Houston's been in so many postseasons that when they go on the road, I don't think they care. But most teams get shook, and the Braves were shook clearly because they were trying to find
Yeah.
excuses in the clubhouse for the media picking up like a random line that nobody cares about. Also, he didn't send any personal attack. It wasn't like any slur or anything wrong. Like attaboy Harper, because he made it wasn't even a base running mistake necessarily, an aggressive base running move. And who cares if they would have just said, yep, tip my cap, good job there. And that's what players do in the clubhouse. We would have moved on. But then the attack on the media, hearing something going on when there's a billion people in the clubhouse with cameras on? Are you nuts? See, and that's when you're like, all right, they're shook in Philadelphia. So I was texting people all day yesterday. I was like, oof, good money on the Phils tonight.